Hey folks, this is Jimmy up on the mountain. This is what I call the monolith stone. This is right on the ridge top. It looks to the east and to the west. And this is one of the reasons I bought this property. It's a notch stone. It looks south. It has an altar on it down there. You can see it. It's old as it looks. So old it looks like petrified wood to me, this stone. Half buried in the ground in this mound. It's all built up with chipped stone, as you can see. This is one way they built things. They built mounds with chipped stone. Lots of it here. This thing's as old as the hills. It's very cool. Has holes in it where things have come out of it. And the altar down there. And it goes down farther into this mound. And this is what you would see walking up the Indian Trail. This old Indian Trail. It goes down to a real famous trail called Crown Point Road, which was made by British in the 1740s, which is in that direction. But you'd walk up here, you'd see the split stone turtle cairn and the other cairns, and you get to the top of the hill, you'd see that, and you made it. You can see it from all the way down when you come around the corner down there. I thought I'd show that to you because that's one of the reasons I bought this property. I liked that stone a lot. I called it Monolith Rock. And then I started discovering that this was an ancient quarry. And they used to do serpent dances here. And there was a viper cult here. And 4 kilometers south of here in Rockingham, Vermont, were found skeletons of very large human beings of some type. This is an ancient place. It's up above the Connecticut River Valley, high enough to be high and dry. And way back when the people were here, the Champlain Sea, there was an ocean in the Champlain north of here with walruses and polar bears. And this place has carvings of polar bears and walruses. It sure does. I found them, and there's a circular stone outcrop, kind of cool. Big root here. This place was sacred, I believe, because it only has quarries and it doesn't have ruins as far as settlement ruins. It has quarry sites, it has serpent walls, it has standing stones, cairns, split cairns, tons of artifacts in the ground, carved pieces of quartz. And you never know it just by looking at the place. You wouldn't. And it's easy to overlook because you step on everything without seeing it. Once in a while you'll see a stone on the ground sticking out. Flat stones. I pulled these up, laid them here. Thought they were cool. I could use them for something. You can see how the ridges, they pretty much go north and south. And this hill slides all the way down to the Black River, which slides right into the Connecticut River down there, which goes to Rockingham down there where all those mounds and burials were found, and the strange stone structures They just call it mysterious stone structures. That's the only name they have for it, because they have no idea who built them. But here, in this strategic spot between the two rivers, was a sacred place where they did dances, serpent dances. There's a standing stone down there, right there. They did serpent dances. There's 2 red ochre mounds down there and an earthwork that connects them in a trench behind it. Red ochre mounds, which are very ancient. There's another standing stone right there. And you can see the serpent wall from that standing stone. And you can see the sunset over the point of it. It's an all carved boulder. Very interesting, actually. You can see the trees break up the rock and the stone the best they can, and then they fall over dead. Some of them stand up dead, like the cedar trees. And of course, the more you look, the more you'll see more stone sticking out of the ground. And this stone contains a lot of quartz. This place was spared the gold miners because in the 1840s, all the gold miners from Vermont went to California. They left the place high and dry. And people panned the rivers, and they didn't do a whole lot of gold mining. Which is good, because a lot of the Native American structures might have been gone or lost. Who knows? By accident, probably, but who knows? I was out here yesterday. I left my gloves. I can see them on the stone out there. This is an interesting stone. Very interesting. Can't say I've ever noticed that stone before. I'll walk over to get my gloves. Another tree root. I found some very interesting artifacts in these tree roots. Very interesting. Here we go. They're only a little wet. It rained all night long. Pouring rain. But you can see the ground is cold, and it didn't quite melt. All the freezing rain that came down just stuck to the ground. It'll go away today, I think. It's pretty warm. Now there's a piece of quartz. Coming out of the ground, just laying there. Why it's laying there, I don't know. It's another piece. Here's another boulder. Here we go. We found a vein. Look at that. Is that pretty or what? Big boulder. There's another one here. Some of this quartz up on the top of the hill is pure white. I call it snowy quartz. It's beautiful. And I've seen artifacts on other channels of snowy quartz points. Indian Trace has a lot of that. Ben on Indian Trace finds a lot of really nice quartz. And I'll have to hand it to him. He has a nice collection of it. He has not just points, but he picks up the hammerstones and sometimes effigies and things he finds. But he goes out there just like you do and I do. And I haven't found a damn point in this whole place. No points. I found axes, I found maces, I found anything that you can hit someone with a club, a hammer. Even daggers, big daggers you hold in your hand, I've found with effigies on them. One looks like a Philistine, I swear. The dagger itself is the helmet and the face is the handle, made out of quartz. It's probably 9 or 10 inches long, and it had an inlaid eye in it where the man's face was. He had no beard, and the dagger looked like a helmet, big, huge, pointy, conical helmet, like the Philistines used to wear. I don't think that's what it was, but that's what it looked like, and I'll bring that out one day again and show it. It's an incredible piece, and I've never seen anything like it here or anywhere else. It's a one-of-a-kind piece. There's some more quartz coming out of the ground in this seam. There's an old tree root. And this is an old quarry. Been here before. But it rained and it rained, and things come out of the ground when it rains. Put my gloves down there. A little wet and disgusting. Yeah, things come out of the ground when it rains. Look at that. Hey, Donnie. Beautiful piece. When I find things, I line them up. And just hope to find more and more. Once in a while, you'll find that one piece that's different and striking and a really good find. A lot of times you'll just find really cool stones like this one. There's quartz inside of it. I guess I'll come out here with a shovel this spring. That's a nice piece. And start doing some digging. I'll do that for Tony. I'm a little bit slow today. A little bit slow. I did a lot of walking in the woods yesterday. Hey Donnie, did you find anything? Zorro has dug up things for me before. Donnie just runs and runs and keeps by my side, but Zorro has dug things up. I could dig up along this seam here, right below this little cliff, probably find some artifacts. Definitely in this seam. It looks like the stones were taken out of here. You can see them. Looks like the seam was just taken out. All this stone. And used and probably traded up and down the valley, I guess. Why would this place be so valuable? The stone was. And it's all here. Lots of good quality and different types of quartz. And the bedrock is, it's old. The bedrock's old here. It used to be part of an Adirondack mountain chain, part of the Green Mountain chain, and not much granite here, but lots of quartz. You can see how it was tortured. It was in the ground, heated and twisted and tortured. Then it came back up, created mountains, and the mountains started to get worn away. And this is what's left. And the ancient history of the place has been lost over the last 12,000 years. People used to be here that, well, left artifacts, and that's how you know they were here. They left things. And quartz artifacts, which they quarried here and created and left, are not exactly the way they left them. Some of them are. A lot of them are very old, and the stone that's not quartz, the softer stone, gets worn away and the quartz doesn't, and they become very old looking. But some, all quartz artifacts, look just like they were when they were made, without dirt on them, with dirt on them. You can see this whole place has been quarried. And I will dig here. And I'll find the low spots, like down in there, and dig. Who knows? Who knows? I can get my metal detector out here also. Although it's hard with the metal detector. Look at all the rock. You dig in rock. And things don't go too far down here. So if there are artifacts, there's not much digging involved. It's finding where they're laying. Finding the spot. And that's not too hard. You just walk along the quarry sites, and you'll find on the sides of the ridges here small quarry sites. And they'll leave decorations, carvings of animals or people or things against a piece of quartz. And this is one of the sites I found several months ago. This stone is just left here. It's been all rounded and polished probably by weather and glaciers, I don't know, but that's a nice stone. They were quarrying here, and they did leave artifacts, and I found them in this site, this small little site on the side of this ridge. And you can picture people sitting here and creating small effigies of things while, you know, the work's going on. And I pick up stones and I'll put them on other stones. I'll pick up a nice piece of white quartz and put it on another stone, and it makes me feel good. It makes the stone feel good. It seems like the stone wants to, you know, go to where it wants to go. And if you put it in the right spot, a stonemason will tell you that. And they'll tell you that a stone has a spot that it wants to be. And I know these things too. My history, my family in Italy were from the mountains, and they were stonemasons. They had big hands, and they were stonemasons. And if you ever built a staircase out of raw stone and just fit the stones together, you'll know. See how it's all inside and all laying up? This used to be that way. Look at the tortured stone, the metamorphic stone. When it was under the ground, it was all twisted and tortured. And there used to be seams in here of quartz. You can see where it was taken out, or lost, or pushed out, or just like that. You can see it looks like it was just chipped off piece by piece. And it was, because I find the artifacts made from the stone. And you can find the color stone and the artifact, you can place it where the quarry was, because these are very small sites. And every ridge seems to have its own color quartz in it. This whole stone is quartz. I found some stones like this with carvings in them. Here's a nice piece. Just laying here. Let's look at it. Huge. Very big. Well, it's sitting there for a reason, I guess. It will come out, but If I wanted to carry it home, I'd pull it up. It kind of wants to be there right now. And someone would take that and look at it and bring out carvings out of it, bring out effigies out of it. That's what they did. They treated it like it was a cave wall painting. They pulled out of the relief of the rock itself what was in the rock. And I guess that made the stone powerful with the spirit of whatever came out of it. Look at that, that's pretty, all polished. Isn't that nice? And if you were from a place that didn't have this readily available, you'd want it. You'd want to have it. Look at that. Is that cool? That tortured piece of rock. It's amazing, isn't it? Look at the color. Well, this is amazing Vermont. There's another piece of tortured rock. Metamorphic rock. That happened several kilometers down. All that quartz was formed. And after millions of years, here it is. On the top of the ground. And back when there was an ocean water north of here, the Champlain Sea, I don't think there were trees like this here. I think it was pretty bare and there were a lot of stones. And whoever was here built lots of stone structures and walls and used the stone. The trees grew up. People disappeared. Got less and less and disappeared. Whoever made this stuff. And now they're completely gone. Even the memory of them are gone. There's echoes of memories, of stories that you hear about giants walking the earth and people 8 feet tall and 9 feet tall and 10 feet tall. And how would you know if you didn't have the skeletons, let's say, the burials? How would you know? Well, you'd look at their tools, the things they used, because a person with a hand larger than a normal human being from today, the tools would be larger. And a tool that would fit in my hand perfectly would not fit in the hand of a giant perfectly. So they would have to use bigger tools. And if they were here, they'd be making them, right? And using them. So we'd be finding them. And what I do find are large tools. Large hammer stones, large axes. Some you couldn't swing. They're too heavy. You might get 3 swings out of them before you quit and went home. But you definitely wouldn't carry it around. So that's where we are with this. I find hammer stones that are too large to use effectively, for me anyway, my size. I find axes that are very large, and I find sculptures of people who don't look human. Does that make sense? Like the ones I showed you on my channel of the giants. This is a hammer. That's a normal hammer. That's about the biggest hammer you're going to find that you might carry around. Because you're going to carry it around. It's going to be tied onto something. This was probably used in the area here. Maybe tied or maybe not. It looks like it was. This is a tool of some kind. Probably used for, grinding or scraping. These were taken out and probably going to be used. I took a couple home that were carved effigies. They were really nice. This one I took a video of. I haven't taken home yet. It's just a nice piece of quartz. It's very unusual to see something like this. It looks like it was chipped out like that. So people were here doing things, and I do have giant axes and giant hammers stones that were too heavy for me to pick up over my head and swing. So the person doing it would have to be a lot bigger and stronger than I am, which isn't too hard to do, but in reality, who would make something like that? You'd hear the words, "It's ceremonial," thrown around. Well, okay. The wall is ceremonial, and that's huge. But I do have a very large axe with a giant carved into it, made of quartz, that has signs of hafting on it. So it was hafted to a stick, and it did get used by someone large, I think. Could have been ceremonial all day long, but it was hafted onto a piece of handle. And it looks like the ceremonial axes that people used can be very small. And if you see pictures of Native Americans, it's on the camera, you'll see they all carry one. And before there were metal axes, they carried stone axes, and they built stone axes out of the stone we find right here in Vermont. That's a traveler, piece of granite that doesn't belong here. Now this is what you might call an erratic, I would think, but they were well used around here into hammers. It looked like the real nice granite was made into some ceremonial stuff, and I'll say that because I found it in a niche in the wall, all stashed in a cache in a secret chamber. I haven't even showed that stuff. I mean, you talk about shaman stones and with pictures of apes on them and deep sea creatures and things like that. Here in Vermont, I have a walrus stone. It has a walrus on it, and I have many mammoth stones, which I've shown. A lot of mammoths. Thought I'd take you for a walk today. I'm on my way home with my wet gloves. They'll dry out good in this wind. I'm back. Thank you for watching.